1 minute until showtime.
Yay! 98.4. Nah, come on. We got to break 100. Got to break 100. Yay! All right, 105. That's more like it. I knew you guys had it in you.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buzz McKim. And co-host, Rich Combs.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all being here and everyone out there checking us out. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to entertain you for the next hour or so. And this segment's being brought to you locally by the, let me go get my glasses on here. Okay, hold on a second here. I've only done this 317 times, you know. Yeah, the Staples at International Speedway Boulevard, anything for the office, they can do it for you. And they'll treat you like gold, too. And started off on kind of a sad note today. One of my all-time heroes passed away this week. Pernelli Jones died at the age of 90. And, boy, he was the coolest of the cool. And I like to think of him as Steve McQueen of racing. You remember the turbine car that he drove?
Oh, yeah.
Almost won the 500 with. And what a neat guy. So time marches on, though. It waits for nobody, unfortunately. And speaking of waiting for nobody, this guy right here, he never waited for anybody. This is Mr. Gary Salvatore here, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Short track ace, raced in Brazil of all places, New Smyrna and Orlando and the Volusia.
Yep.
Yeah, he won championships all over. It's amazing. Where'd you start out at?
First place we started racing when I moved to Florida in '86 was New Smyrna.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hart family took over Orlando, so we started running both.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of that, we snuck in some Volusia once in a while, and then we raced the last 3 seasons I ran was all at Volusia exclusively.
Oh, yeah. Now, you're from Connecticut, right?
From Connecticut.
Yeah, and you kind of got your feet wet with the modifieds up there, right?
That's where it all I was born, bred, and the modifieds was it. That's all there was in New England. And grew up around all the greats, the Dick Dixons and Leo Clarys.
Dick Dixon, really?
Buddy Krebs. They were all, I was there with all of them when I was a young kid, grew up, and that was really neat. That's where I drove my first race car by accident.
By accident. How did that happen?
The gentleman I was working for didn't show up on a Friday night. Mm-hmm. So I grabbed his helmet and fire suit and got in a big block modified and
holy cow.
Was testing at Stafford Speedway.
Did you see God?
I thought I heard him once. It was a weird feeling. Never been in anything in my life, and that was the first thing I jumped in.
Amazing.
And then I always told him when he got done racing, I wanted to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had crashed on a Friday night and said, if you put the car together, Saturday night we could go to Riverside Park. And I went to Riverside Park with a big block modified and a quarter-mile racetrack. It was the first time I ever drove a race car.
Is that right?
Away we went.
I bet it was a beast.
I didn't know. I had no clue. I had a 6-cylinder Camaro I drove on the street and got in a 468 cubic inch big block and a quarter-mile racetrack.
Holy cow. Did it have fuel injection?
No, it's carbureted.
Yeah, well, that was a little safer,
I guess.
to a degree. Yeah.
It was interesting. It was fun.
Did you have any trouble getting that power to the wheels?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had no clue. I had zero experience.
But you were hooked.
But I knew I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And that was, opportunity in a weird way, and he got it, and we did it.
I'll be darned. Isn't that something? Yeah,
but he's a local boy.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
From Daytona.
guy.
Daytona.
So
Moved
down
like
the hand
Daytona.
for that, I think, for sure.
Absolutely.
moved to Florida in '81 and was in Daytona the whole time, and that's when I started racing. Was in '86, and made it to '97 on my own, and went off to work for people, and never got a chance to go back and race.
I'll be darned. But you were keeping busy with other people.
I stayed real busy with other people, and I learned a lot, and I always wanted to go back and do what I learned, and it never happened. Never had the opportunity to do it, but won't regret what I did because we had a lot of fun doing what we did, working for people too.
Oh, sure. Well, you ran mostly ASA, or you worked for ASA?
We started at ASA, and then that's when it was the real V6 ASA, and then they went to the V8, the LS motor.
Right.
And that was okay, and then the series died a few years after that, and then went on to Pro Cup racing, and same thing there. Ran Pro Cup until that series died.
Right.
So I could run series out. I didn't have to stay there long.
I'm sure it was nothing personal.
Nah, I'm thinking not.
Hey, you got to work with Adam Petty.
Wow.
But that was one heck of an experience, wasn't it?
Adam was a very unique kid. He was just as pleasant in person as you saw him on TV. He was always just smiling. He had the Richard Petty, Kyle Petty smile and attitude, but just a super, super nice kid.
Did he know much about cars?
No.
Oh.
No, Adam was not he had more time to take care of sponsors and people than he did to work on a race car.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't think he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He was in that position and had good people around him, but it was fun. He was there for his first race, and I was telling him I got Adam's wristwatch, so that was
really
autographed by Adam, his own.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was
it makes you wonder what if.
What if?
Yeah.
We got him thrown out of his first go-kart track. Me and Jeff Foltz, we were going go-kart racing. We took Adam with us, and Jeff took off first, and Adam was in between, and I was behind, and Jeff said, "I'm stopping." And Adam said, "I'm not." And I didn't know what they were doing. Hit him so hard, Adam was straight up and down. I seen his head, and next thing I see was the man running over there on the go-kart track.
Oh, geez.
Told us that we were done. Kind of understood, but.
Okay, that's a fun item, right?
Yeah.
We know your background to some extent. Race champion, track champion, working for all the right people. And now you're telling us a story about you having fun. Where did you have the most fun?
Gosh, that's tough. I mean, when I worked for Dick Anderson and we won all them races in 2001 and 2 championships, that was quite a bit of enjoyment. Being with Dick was being Dickie. Being with Dickie at any time was, but being with one of his best years was really a fun time. I've done some road racing lately. That's where I just retired from road racing with Mike Cope, and
oh, really?
We got to do the Trans Am series, and I got to see a lot of different sides of racing there. So that was pretty interesting. It's hard to say. I mean, there were so many things that we have done. James Busher with Steve Turner, Turner Motorsports. James didn't even drive a street car.
Really?
And we had him at New Smyrna his first time.
I'll be darned.
And I seen him run into a wreck going down the back straightaway just from turn 2, and the wreck was in 3, and he just drove right into it.
Oh, jeez.
I said, "James, what are you doing?" He'd never been 100 miles an hour.
Oh, my.
He had no idea what it was to go 100 miles an hour. He had no idea what it was to slow down.
Oh, gosh. Isn't that something?
So that was lesson number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. What's James doing these days?
Real estate, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a cousin to Chris Busher?
He married Chris.
Oh, is that right?
He married Steve's daughter, Chris.
Oh, I'll be darned.
Yeah, he married
okay.
into it.
I got you. Okay.
You know, one of the, you're talking about road racing. Was it Trans Am 2, TA2? That is an absolute fantastic series. If you want to see some racing, you want to see some guys get it on, you want to see some top professional drivers. I mean, these guys are good. And there's some of them are guys you don't even expect. That is terrific racing.
We got to work for Thomas Merrill, who ended up winning the Rolex in class a couple years ago, and then he won. He was second. He was runner-up at Le Mans.
Wow.
So it's really cool to work with Thomas, and he's one of them that you would never know Thomas was a road racer, a racer of any type. But he's a class act. So, yeah, we're very, very fortunate to be around some very good people, very, very fast, very knowledgeable. The Gary St. Amonts in ASA. You know, it was just in '97 when I won the Winston Racing Series at Volusia, was lucky enough to get one of those helmets. I got to the NASCAR banquet in Opryland.
Oh, boy.
And we were at the back of the room. And I said, it really would be nice to be in the front of this room. Well, '98, the following year, we won the championship with Gary, and we got to go to Opryland, sit at the front row.
All right. Now you're
So
talking.
I was like, this is really cool. So I got my dream, not the way I wanted it, but it worked out. We ended up being in the front of the room the year after. So I got to see the in and the out.
That's really neat. Now, could you tell us what's so special about that helmet right there?
You can't buy them. You have to earn those.
Really?
You don't get to you can't buy it. It's not available. So NASCAR was gracious enough to give all the champions the championship helmet. So I mean, it's really special.
And your prize position?
Next to my wife and kids.
Yeah.
It ranks up there.
Yeah. And some days you're not too sure about the kids.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's like I say, you can't buy them, and not everybody has one.
Boy, that's neat. That is neat. So you were the Southeast Division Championship of Winston Racing Series. Right?
We were in the region. We ended up 10th in the region because that's when Volusia closed. So we didn't get our allotment of races in.
I see.
So I think it ended up 10th in the region, but it was still a championship within. So it's the best we could do when the track closed.
Yeah, that's amazing. The way you ran with David Rogers?
I beat David Rogers. I didn't just run with him. I beat David.
Now you're talking. Okay.
That was I think it was '88. New Smyrna was probably my second year, and David was in a modified, and I remember to this day coming out of turn 2 and got underneath him, and I remember looking over, going down the backstretch. I remember looking over and saying, now what do I do? Because it was 2 laps to go, and it didn't happen. Nobody beat David. And it was as plain as day as I'm sitting here, I looked over, and now what do I do?
Holy cow. Did you beat him?
I beat him.
All right.
I beat him.
That's great.
His longtime
Congratulations.
His longtime worker, Donnie Lewis, was the tech man.
Oh, yeah.
And Donnie was the first one to my window.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
great.
it was pretty special, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you could write a book. Yeah, the Short Track Diary.
It was, looking back at it now, it's like, holy cow, that really happened. And just kept going and going. And we ran, '88, I think we ran 92 races in a year.
Really?
Wow.
4 years in a row, we ran 92, 80, 88, 87, and something like that. 4 years when we won the championships, and it was twice a week, every week.
Wow.
And the only time back then we had speed weeks off, which was really good because I needed a vacation. And everybody else wanted to race. No, I want to stop.
Well, you know what helped a lot, though, was that you were real easy on equipment. You didn't tear things up very often.
I paid for it. I fixed it. I built it. I didn't have a choice.
Yep.
And that's probably why I had a good win ratio, but I probably had a better top 5 ratio. Because I knew when it was my night, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And I always remembered Jackie Stewart said, win the race as slow as you can.
Oh, that's good thinking.
And
that's
I always
good
remembered
statement.
that.
Yeah.
Good
I
statement.
always remembered that when I was racing because I had to pay for it. It was all out of my pocket.
Well, when you look at all the big racers, they're racing for somebody else. It's not their money. It's not their car. They'll stick the nose in anywhere, okay, because they're okay. Right. As soon as you switch over to being your own owner driver, Darrell Waltrip, for example, you don't run in the top 10 anymore.
I stuck it in there. I wasn't afraid, even though I had to fix it. But, but it was we'd run New Smyrna on a Saturday night and crash, and spend all week putting it back together. Got to Orlando Speed World, unloaded, won the race, put it back on the trailer, finished painting it, and putting the bumper back on it for Saturday, and then crashed it Saturday night.
I'll be darned.
So
You must have had a heck of a wife to put up with all that, huh?
I guess I did because I never saw her. So I guess it made it easy. If you can't have a problem if you're not around.
Now, could you make money at racing back in those days?
Back in those days, I did okay. I mean, I didn't make money, but it didn't cost me money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I had Action Performance at the time. They were buying my fuel, and I had got a gold card from the Speedway from New Smyrna in Orlando, so I didn't have to pay to get in.
Oh, right.
And so I was only paying for gas for the truck, basically, and tires lasted forever, so it wasn't a big issue. And the races paid $200 a night, I think, to win, and we averaged like $150, $160 during the year. So when you look at the numbers, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But we were just lucky enough to just keep digging, keep digging. And we never wanted for anything because the speed shop held all my bills. So if I needed something, I always had access to it.
Beautiful.
So we were never out of money, never had to worry about getting it.
Yeah, Art was a good man.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
They believed in you. That's the whole deal right there. You know, because most drivers go to the trailer or you go to the shop, and it's cash on the head right there. So you were a good guy.
Yeah, you go in and win Dixie, you got to pay for it and leave.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We were in and win Dixie, so we didn't have to pay for it, but I could get it. I didn't have to wait for it.
Yeah, I can remember back, you know, running a race car, and you're saying, if I just had one more set of tires, I could do this or I could do that. And then you are thinking in the back of your mind and feeling your wallet, do I really want to do that? You know, is it worth it? Is the second better? Is the second okay if in place of a first? And it's tough. You make a lot of economic decisions there.
Jackie Arute used to race with us.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And Jackie come by one night and asked me how things are going. And I said, nothing that set of Eagles wouldn't cure. And 5 minutes later, he walked over and says, go see the Buzzy at the tire truck. You got 4 tires. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. That's
so it was pretty cool. That was, like I say, people like that. And I've had people help me, you know, sporadically throughout. And it unfortunately, it run out. So it just, we were done.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Gary Salvatore and some more stories.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. And like the man said, this is where it all began. 1948, February, happened right here, right behind us. 1948, NASCAR hasn't been the same since, that's for sure. Hey, if you want to check us out online, you can go to Legends of Racing Radio Show live. Live.
First day on the job.
It's live,
Yeah, first day on the job. What is it, Mike? Facebook Live.
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Yeah, no more Facebook. Yeah, don't go there anymore. Yeah, sorry, Danny. I had a bad morning, you know. So, yeah, YouTube Live. You can check us out there. Check us out on all the other 300 and some odd shows we've had. And we've had some doozies. You mentioned Dick Anderson. He was on, and he was a heck of a guest. We had a good time. You've got something kind of special there, don't you?
We've got a special guest in the audience today. Everybody needs to take a look at this. Kathy Bridges is here, and she's heading up a thing called Mopars at the Beach, and this is a
yes, it'd be awesome.
The guy clapping is, I think, the first registrant for the. Who knows how many they're going to have? Most of their events are limited to 130 cars at a time, but they're going to have a lot more people in. Kathy's here. She's very knowledgeable about Mopars. She's agreed to be on the show, so she will be a guest, and we can hear more about it. But just to let you know, this is happening in our neighborhood, and we want to be here. And there's a lot of Mopar people here, I can tell you that. Not Jimmy Susi, of course. He's not no, he's
right.
a Ford guy. And this is October 1st through October 5th. They're going to have a big barbecue here. They're going to have a night of sound and light. They're going to have a day at Orlando World Speedway, drag racing. And then they're going to have a massive big show in Port Orange. So it's a big deal for us coming here. And Kathy's here. And everybody, thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy, thank you. And we'll have you on the show there at least once, probably twice between now and then. And you can talk it up. And we're excited. And anytime we can have Mopar have the light shine on Chrysler products, I think that's really neat. You know, they were kind of the stepchildren to a certain degree, you know.
Well, that's true. But when you get into the performance side of it, it becomes a whole different program.
Oh, buddy, you're not kidding.
And we've got some good cars that come. I already know some of the cars coming.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So
and there's some nice cars here in town, too.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Hey, did you ever drive a Mopar?
Not on purpose. Not deliberately.
That's a good one.
I did. When I was 16, I was going to buy a GTX.
Oh, boy.
444 speed car. I was working at a gas station, and these two guys would come in here all the time, and I thought that'd be a good first car to have at 16, and my dad didn't.
Oh.
No, so it didn't work out.
But you get in trouble?
Well, I didn't get the car.
Oh.
Well, I followed in your footsteps, and I bought the 68 Charger RT, which was comparable to the GTX. Love that car. It was way more powerful than ever advertised. But what made you feel good was the torque. This thing had so much torque, and that's what you feel in your seat when you're getting on it. I mean, you know, your butt's stuck back in the seat. That thing had it. I was a hot rodder at that point. I loved it.
Oh, do you have a 440 in it?
It's 440, 375. Yeah.
The tri-power?
No, it was a single 4-barrel. Yeah.
And it was still enough.
Oh, sucker was tough. So we had fun with it. So I know what you were looking at.
I thought 16 years old was a good starter car.
Well, I was a couple of years older, but.
Oh, that's funny. Now, did you find much difference running New Smyrna, Volusia, and Speed World?
Yes. Yes, Speed World and Volusia were probably the funnest to drive.
Were they?
Yeah. It didn't take a lot of horsepower. You had to be on your game. New Smyrna was all horsepower. All horsepower. We broke our good motor one night and had to put our spare motor, our backup motor in, and we went to Speed World, and we were only a tenth off of our best times.
Jeez.
But we were over a second off at New Smyrna.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
So that's what I learned right away.
Yeah. Now, could you run quick changes back then?
Back then, no. It was 9-inch Fords.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, wow. So could you change your ratio with your tire size?
No. Mine, fortunately, we had the right transmission combinations. And I could run third gear at Speed World and run high gear at New Smyrna.
Really?
So I didn't have to change nothing.
Oh, that's great.
So that was part of the
You did your homework.
Economy.
Yeah.
I won't say homework. It was pure luck, I'm sure, because we didn't know enough how to figure it out. We just put it in gear, and okay, that works out. We got the New Smyrna where we always ran, and that works out too. So I just had third and fourth gears, all I had to do. So it made work a whole lot easier.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We didn't have to change gears. Volusia County was probably the funnest to drive.
Was it really?
Yeah. Volusia was a lot of fun. You had to. It was a very rhythmic track, and you just had to be good at it. You just had to learn and to keep momentum up. But Volusia was. And that was very similar to St. Augustine. St. Augustine was a fun place.
St. Augustine.
I did that too.
That was a quarter mile, wasn't it?
No, it was about the same as Volusia. It was a little bit shorter than Volusia.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
It was flat, though.
Had a more D shape.
Going
into the last corner, whatever you wanted to call it, you were looking at the wall.
Oh, boy.
So you had to make a quick decision that you had to go left really quick. But yeah, it was a pretty neat place up there.
Yeah. You ever win a championship there?
No, we didn't run there. We were running so much between New Smyrna and Orlando to run for championships that we weren't able to get out too often to get to places. We'd get rained out in Orlando, and All-Pro would be at Volusia County, and we'd beat feet from Orlando and get to Volusia County and go run there Friday night.
I'll be darned.
Just to run into a wall when we cut a tire. So
right.
We had more fun getting down the highway getting to it than we did. Yeah, we did some crazy things.
Did you ever run any dirt?
Never.
Never did dirt, huh?
I thought it would be fun in somebody else's car because I wasn't into cleaning it.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I worked on one, and when I had to shop at the store for a while and still wasn't clean enough. Go clean it some more.
Yeah.
I'm not working on it. But, yeah, that was probably my one and only endeavor with dirt, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get a little messy.
It's, as I did circle track until I had the opportunity to go to Brazil. And did the one road race in Brazil.
Oh gosh, yeah. After the break, I want you to talk about Brazil. That's fantastic.
That was an interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a. Like you say, the short tracks around here, we were just so busy that we didn't have time to go elsewhere.
Yeah. Now, could you draft at New Smyrna?
Now you just flat run into them and push them down the straightaway. So I guess it was a drafting back then, but we couldn't feel it. In the modifieds with no body work on them, it was hard to. I could honestly not tell you air or any of that made any difference.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Now, running an open wheel like that, did you have to be careful running next to somebody?
They say that. I never got upside down.
Oh, that's good.
I never. I jumped wheels a few times. I asked the video man one night in Orlando. I said, "How high was I?" And he says, "I seen you higher."
Oh, geez.
So it was the extent of jumping a wheel. But no, we were very fortunate. Never got on our lid. Never got it up and over. And I mean, we crashed. And it happens.
Well, you never totaled a car, though, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, total in a race car is a kind of a. We'd cut the clip off. Yeah, we did 6 or 7 clips on one car.
Oh, geez.
Just kept putting it back together. Cut it off, put it on. Cut it off, put it on.
Got a little tiring after a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it's unfortunately part of the game, but
yeah. Oh, that's something. Yeah. So you spent a lot of time in the carport.
In the carport,
right? Yeah. You were doing all that work in the carport.
It was years before I ever had a garage to work on a race car.
I'll be darned.
And when I finally got my own garage at my house, I was done racing.
Oh, really?
So I never got to race out of my own garage ever. The body shop I was working at let me use a bay.
Yeah.
Art at Action, I used the bay there for a little bit, but that was a working bay, so I had to take it out. It wasn't something I could stay there.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd crash a car and we'd go somewhere to fix it. We didn't have anything. We didn't have anything to fix any.
Wow.
We just did it.
That's amazing. Where there's a will, there's a way, huh?
It was, yes. Well, it was a perfect example.
I think all of us old racers remember the carport days.
Yeah.
Richard
Childress started out in the carport.
Yeah.
He's done okay last time I checked.
Yeah, he was really moving uptown when he got that old service station in Welcome.
Boy, you're not kidding.
That was big time.
See, when we ran ASA, we had Jimmy Johnson.
Really?
He was Rookie of the Year.
No kidding.
When we won the championship, so we was around Jimmy the whole time.
Oh,
and
man.
I had run into Chad Canals a few years ago when Jimmy was still there, and I said, Chad, I said, you didn't do a bad job with that kid that we hung out with. And he looked at me kind of funny, and he realized what it was. Yeah. We had Jimmy in our ASA car before Jimmy had anything.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
That's interesting, yeah.
Jimmy wanted the number painted on the floor pan.
Why is that?
So when he got upside down, they'd know who he was. That was his answer.
Oh, that's funny.
So when he gets upside down, so you can identify him still.
Well, he's one decent person, isn't he?
Jimmy was very, very, again, getting those guys out of their element. They're you and I. They're no different with them. And it had been 8 years since I had seen him, and I ran into him at Phoenix one night. And he come over and he talked to me just like we're talking now for 20 minutes.
That's great.
And it was like,
that's something.
It was really a cool situation. That, like, how you doing? Yeah. Not as good as you. So it was pretty neat that he remembered me, and we sat there and we were able to have a conversation. So
that's great. Yeah, we had his father on one time. His father lives in Ormond.
Oh, yeah.
And Gary was on, and he was a great guest. Really good. Good guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was
Well, speaking of Jimmy What do you think makes a good driver? You were there. Was it your commitment, your passion, your love, your skill? What was it?
I can't say the skill because I didn't know anything. I was passionate about it, and I wanted to do it. I knew I could do it. And so I'm thinking, to me it was all the mindset, having the mindset to go out there and be the best you can with what you have. And I always thought if he can do it, I know I can do it.
Okay.
And so I know I didn't have the equipment. I had good equipment, but I didn't have the best equipment because I didn't know what it was. I never had anybody teach me how to do something. I did it all on my own.
That's good.
Can you hold that thought? We'll
Yes,
be
sir.
right back after this break. Be right back with Gary Salvatore.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's original North Turn has been voted by you Best Beach Bar Top 10 year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Rich Combs.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. We're here with Gary Salvatore, hearing some great stories about just a good old short track racer, a guy who ran by the seat of his pants. Whatever he had in his pocket, he put into the car, and he did exceptionally well. This segment's being brought to you locally by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the USA in the country by USA Weekend. Visit our Shop Now network and our Shop Now at Daytona Beach or at Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. And don't forget to check us out on the YouTube Live, right? No more Facebook, YouTube Live. We're getting there. All right. It takes me a while to learn these things. Tony, you're here. What you got? Hey, Tony.
Hey, Gary. You just mentioned in passing that you worked with Adam Petty. I don't think there's many of those folks around. How did that come about? And have you got a couple Adam Petty stories you can share with us?
Adam was, like I say, we were ASA racing in '98, and Adam was with the Spree team, and they were all very close-knit group, so we were always together week in, week out. We'd stay at the hotels together, and Adam was the first race at Peach State, Georgia, and Kyle was there, and Richard was there, and it was neat to see that whole situation go. Richard's jacking the car up, and Adam's being Adam, and it went on from there, and the couple trips at the Milwaukee story when he was wearing a flowered Hawaiian shirt with Spree on it, green and white, and he come out of his hotel, this naive kid, and there was this big stain in the carpet, and Adam was wondering what that was all about, and I told him it was the last guy that came to Milwaukee wearing a flowered shirt. So Adam continued on, and he, like I said, he was just a super, super kid, just a very cordial, and didn't flaunt that his name was Petty. It was a bad deal in the end, obviously, but he was just a really, really neat kid.
Did somebody just come up to you and say, "Hey, would you like to work with this team?"
He was, like I said, he was out of Grand Rapids. Chris Bradley was his crew chief, so that's where the stuff was done. So that's where Gary St. Amant stuff was done in Grand Rapids also. So we were all intertwined quite a bit. I didn't work directly for Adam, but we were always there. And everything got switched back and forth. So he was Dave Sensible, there was a couple people there, but it was all such a close-knit family at the time that there was no secrets. Adam was there, and we were get to hotels, and you'd spend time with Adam, no matter where we were, and he was just Adam.
Wasn't there some kind of a problem at Minnesota?
Yeah, Matt, there was a tragedy when he ran over his crew chief. The crew chief was never got off the box, and the Minnesota State Fair, and Chris had got off the box and laid on the ground in the front to reach under and adjust a sway bar, and the jackman had looked at the front tire changer, and he was done, but he didn't know Chris was there.
Oh, my.
And then he turned to the rear tire, and when the rear tire changer was done, he dropped the jack. And everybody did what they were supposed to except Chris.
Jeez.
Chris never told him that he was going out there to work on a race car.
Boy, that's a shame.
It was a bad. It hit him. Obviously, it would. And being as young as Adam was, it was a bad deal. But there was a lot of people that comforted and made him understand things happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's just racing.
That's the famous words. It's just racing.
Just racing, yes. So now you got to race in Brazil of all places.
I got an opportunity.
How in the world did that come about?
There were some customers that used to come to the store all the time, and they'd come out to New Smyrna, come out to Volusia, wherever we were at, and watch me race and hang around. And they called me up one day and said, "Do you ever road race?" And I said, "Yeah, every day when I go home from work." And he says, "You want to come to Brazil and do a 12-hour road race at Interlagos?" And I said, "Absolutely." And it was bad because I was running Dave Massotti's car at the time at Volusia County, and we were running a points battle, and it was a tough decision. I was loyal, but I had an opportunity, and everybody understood. So I was able to go down to Brazil, and I carried my helmet and my fire suit on the plane, and I checked my luggage because I didn't care if the luggage got there. I wasn't going to Brazil without my helmet and fire suit. So we got there, and we're in line to check in, and obviously everybody speaks Portuguese or whatever they speak, and I don't. So we're going in line, and they're asking questions, and I have no clue what they're. So I got somewhat of an interpreter, and they asked me my blood type. Well, I heard the guy in front of me say A positive. So I said A positive. So if we were the only two in the world at the time that had A positive, I didn't know that. I didn't know what, I had no clue, but I wasn't going back to start zero because they'd already tried to get me to pay, it was $500 entry per driver.
Oh my gosh.
And you could have 2 drivers or 4 drivers. And they wanted me to pay $2,000.
Holy
and
cow.
There was some girls from Argentina that were racing, a team of 4. And they were sponsored by Haviland, and they wanted them to pay, and they refused. And they had all kinds of publicity, so they had to cave and let them girls go. And they said, well, we'll have the American pay. And the girls said, no, he's not going to pay either. And I never met these people in my life. So I was able to get in on the 500 deal, and we did that. And we qualified 9th out of like 70 cars or something.
Cow.
And we ran all night. Well, my first practice was a left, a short straightaway, and a left, and I spun out. So I thought this is going to be a really long 12 hours because I can't even turn the way I'm supposed to know how to turn. I hadn't even got to a right-hander yet. So we did that. But, yeah, we ran to the 11th hour, and I ran out of gas crossing the start-finish line. So I pulled off and tried to get fuel in the car, and they sent a crew member down there to do it, and they disallowed us to run the last hour. So it was just devastating. But it was Interlagos, got to go down this hallway where all these Formula One guys had been in their careers, and got to this driver's room, and their chaise lounges, their leather, this place was, it was crazy. And that's the only time I've ever been awestruck. Because who sat in this seat before me? Who's been in this room in Interlagos? And I said, that was pretty. They weren't going to let my interpreter in. I said, well, if you don't let him in, I don't need to be here. Because there's nothing. All I could say was obrigado and Alta Bunda Grande. Wide, big ass. That's all I knew. That's the only thing I ended up knowing when I was. That's my whole repertoire of Brazilian.
Did you have a big ass back then?
I wasn't talking. We weren't referring to me. It was every time we went to restaurants or something that always got brought up. It was one of them things, but that's all I knew. That's all they taught me.
Jeez. Well, where'd you finally finish?
I don't remember where I think we ended up 7th or 8th in class, and I think it was in the lower 20s. I don't remember the final rundown because it didn't matter at that point in time when we only got 11 hours in.
Yep.
So not being a road racer, what in the world changed your mind to go to Brazil to run in a road race?
Can you hold on to that for a second? Yeah. We'll be right back with Gary. We'll find out how he got to road race.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host Buzz McKim and co-host Rich Combs.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Hope everybody out there is having a good time. We're having a ball here. This is really cool. We're having a great time. You know, looking back on the memory lane, because I was there for most of your racing, and hearing some of the stuff that I never knew before, like the Brazil deal. And this segment's being brought to you locally by Homewood Suites by Hilton over on Bill France Boulevard, right around the corner from the Speedway, where every room is a suite, and they have a fantastic breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, not a continental breakfast. This is a real breakfast with plates and meat and everything. and no plastic silverware, I don't think. And also a happy hour, too. So if you want to impress somebody coming to town, go ahead and hook them up with the Homewood Suites by Hilton. And let's see, what were we talking about here?
I was saying you're not a road racer.
Right.
But an opportunity comes up to go to Brazil, magic place, big race, and you said yes. What in the world were you thinking?
It was a race car. It was something to drive. It was circle track guys. We kind of looked down at road racers at the time. So I was it was just an opportunity. It was just a golden opportunity, and how could I say no?
Yeah.
I'd never been out of the country. I'd never had a passport, never had nothing. Away we went, and here I made it, so we missed only one Saturday night.
Oh, that's great.
And so we were in and out of Brazil as quickly as – that was a scary place.
Was it really?
That was a very, very they would take me in the car, and they'd drive up on the front steps of the hotel, and the guy in the hotel had a remote control and would open the door.
Jeez.
And they sent me up to the 17th floor, and they said, call me in the morning. We'll call you when you come down. Don't leave. Don't go out of the hotel. Don't.
Wow.
Yeah. So here I am watching Portuguese TV, and the only thing that was on was Lethal Weapon dubbed in Portuguese. So it was kind of funny because I knew what he was saying. But yeah, that was.
So what kind of car did you drive?
It's a Brazilian car. It's an Opala.
Huh.
about the size of our early Novas or our mid-size Nova. It was a strange-looking American motor. It had a Bolaz.
Bolaz.
It had a Bolaz motor in it.
Really? Good old American Bolaz.
It had a big V8 in it, and it had run on alcohol. And, yeah, it was just I should have never drove it, hindsight. There was no uprights in the roll bars.
Oh, Lord, is that right?
Yeah, we didn't care. But
jeez.
I had an S on my chest. It wasn't going to, nothing's going to happen. We're going racing. Being young and full of it, we did it.
Oh, man. So, Larry, what you got? Hey, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Hey, Gary, welcome for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What number did you run?
Number 20.
Always?
Always.
What was the significance?
The man I worked for in Connecticut.
Okay, wasn't really something that you...
No, that was, he had the 20. He had the 20, so I just ran with it, and that's what I always had.
Okay, I'd like to know what your personal vehicle is right now.
I've got a 2000 Ford F-150 Harley-Davidson pickup, and I've got a 2017 C7 Corvette, and then my wife's Dodge Journey.
Very cool, man. I'm a UAW guy, so I appreciate buying American.
I always had, at one time in my yard, there was a Dodge, a Ford, a GMC, and a Chevy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All at the same time.
Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, Larry.
I told you he was a local boy, right? That's your answer.
So you talked about one of the best that ever was, a guy named Leo Cleary, and you had a story about him, right?
Leo Cleary, when I was probably 12 years old, my best friend's father owned one of his race cars. And I remember going down to his garage and peeking through the window at Leo Cleary's, and that's when Leo had the stuffed animal, Leo the lion, in the roll bar. So I got to see Leo race, like I said, from really early. Well, early on down here, I want to say it was 88, 89, when Leo was down here racing still. He retired, and I got to drive his race car
Oh, man.
when Leo retired.
Really?
So that's when I got in a race car, and it was like, wow, that's what that's supposed to feel like. Because I had no clue. I'd never been in anybody's race car, but the first car I got into was when Leo Cleary stepped out of.
Wow. And you could tell the difference.
Instantly.
Is that right?
Instantly. Just, okay, now I understand a little bit more.
Yeah. You know, Leo won the Florida lottery one time.
Yep.
Sure did. I don't know how much he made, but I'm sure it was more than he had when he started.
Well, no, he still had what he started with, I think.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I don't
He a
think
little
Leo.
tight?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
According to him, now I don't know for sure, but yeah, Leo was a neat guy. Leo, like I say, I grew up watching him race, and then to drive his race car
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Boy, that's we have a lunch bunch that we get together every Thursday, and or once a month. And Leo was part of that lunch bunch for a while as he was getting older, and he got to a point where he really couldn't get out anymore. But he was part of that deal.
It was like Bobby Judkins when Bobby ran the car down here. I never got an opportunity, but I always wanted to drive the 2X once.
Oh,
and it just didn't work out. It just didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there much difference between that car and your car?
Probably.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
Like $100,000 worth of.
No, it was just $100,000 in knowledge.
Yeah.
Just it was one of them things that I'd really would just like to see what he had done.
Yeah.
How he did it.
Really.
I bent up some body panels and things for him along the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, did you learn a lot just watching his car, just checking it out?
I didn't pay attention a lot of what everybody else was doing. I didn't know. I didn't have a clue to how they did it and what they were doing. So I kind of just went off and did my own thing the way I did it.
It sure worked out for you.
It did. We were very, like I say, we're very, very fortunate. And we were on the ground floor of the modifieds when they started down here. There was 86 when they started. I think there was like 4 or 5 cars. And the next year, I built the first one. And then I just fit in there till I finally had well, I got told I had enough, but I didn't really.
Let me add a little humor to this deal. Gene Felton was a wonderful driver, champion, IMSA, great road race guy. I took a class from him to learn road racing. He was good. And in getting to know Gene over a period of years, I said to him one day, I said, Gene, at that time, NASCAR was just getting into road racing, and they would send people down to, he got Dale Earnhardt. So I said, who's your most memorable or best student? And he said, Dale Earnhardt. And I said, well, tell me more. He says, well, Dale showed up. He says, I took him out in the van, and, they'd take you in the van and show you the line and where your turn-in points were. And he says, then we got in the car, and he says, I drove him around a couple of laps, and I gave it to him. He went right out and didn't do a thing I said, missed the whole deal. And he said within 3 laps he was running faster than I was. That's a guy that didn't pay attention to somebody else.
That's amazing. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Gary Salvatore.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1- and 2-bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim, and co-host, Rich Combs.
All righty. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Thank you, everyone out there watching us from afar. And we're here with Gary Salvatore, and it's just what a neat story. Awesome story. Isn't it,
wonderful
Rich?
Story.
Tremendous.
I think we've just maybe got 5%. There's 95% more that we can pull out of this guy that's interesting. And I think if you get to about the 50%, there's going to be some real juicy, good stuff we can hear.
We've been around a lot of good people. We've definitely been.
That's for sure. Well, one of your teammates was a guy named Ken Michironi.
Yep.
And Ken used to draw the Ninja Turtle comic books. He was a cartoonist.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy. Then he went to work for Pixar, and he worked on the Toy Story movies. And the guy's a genius. And he moved out to California to seek his fame and fortune. But we used to work right out of DeLand. He had a little studio there.
Yep.
But Ninja Turtles and Ren and Stimpy supported his racing habit.
I've got a Ken autographed Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, do you?
Oh.
A page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend just sold one for $300.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one from Ken.
Oh, that's really neat. He had his heart in it.
Yes. Yes.
That's for sure. Yeah, didn't win a lot, but he was there every week.
He was there. He was digging.
Yep. Yeah, he had the heart of a racer. That's for sure.
We drove his car one night.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
It was fine. It was just my brain dead practice crash in our primary car, and Ken was part of our tent umbrella, and so Dave Massotti, the guy I was driving for, and Ken were good, so we switched a bunch of things over, and I drove Ken's car that night at Volusia Speedway. We've been, I don't know, we're on 3rd or 4th, but it was better than where we were gonna run after I crashed.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Now, when did you know it was over?
Like I said, in '97 was the last year, and then I went to work for people. And it was probably 2002 or 3. I still had my car, and I decided to go test New Smyrna one night on a Wednesday night, I think it was, and the throttle stuck. And we hit turn 3 head on. It broke all the blood vessels in my eyes. And
Holy cow.
it was a bad, and that was one of them when I reached for the switch, I remember saying to myself, I didn't need this to happen right now. And I knew I couldn't hang on with one hand. So I grabbed the steering wheel again to hang on, and it hit and drove all the way around. And I reached over and shut it off still in the middle of the corner and coasted all the way down pit road. We loaded it in the trailer that night backwards, and I think it was 10 years before I ever opened the door.
Really?
I put it in the trailer, we backed the trailer in the yard and never opened the door.
I'll be darned.
Never, there was nothing. I knew it was done.
Yeah.
I knew it had hit, and I knew we were at the end of it. I didn't have the financing to or the time to get back and do it again. And so I really never got a chance to retire or quit.
Mm-hmm.
We just went on and did different things and just never was able to get back to it.
Yeah. I'll be darned. Yeah, so nature told you that was it.
I don't know if nature had anything to do with it. It was, I still, up until a couple of years ago, I still thought about building another one.
No kidding. Yeah, I'll be darned.
That's a great story. Most racers quit, but they won't tell you the real story. You just told us the real deal. Thank you.
It was just the way it happened. And, you know, would I love to do it? Yeah. Would I love to still do it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I walk out of here and buy the lottery ticket, we will have a lot of fun. There's no doubt in my mind. One more time.
And so Volusia was your favorite track, huh?
Volusia was. Clyde Hart took very good care of me throughout the whole years, and I mean I was very loyal to Clyde, and I made sure I stayed there for Clyde. And but to drive and have fun, Volusia was definitely the place to do it.
That's good.
You had some pretty stiff competition back then too.
Yeah, we did. I mean, up and down, we've had people all over. You know, Jimmy Winks. He raced Jimmy. Jimmy was a great guy. Cheat. We were in Speed World one night. My eyes are burning because of the alcohol.
Oh, jeez.
He's running alcohol. And we were in Volusia one night, and on a restart, he kept running into me on a restart. I couldn't get going, and he could. So it was one of them deals, but it was fun. Yeah. Ed Meredith, and you know, we got to race with them all at a certain point in time.
Yeah. Now, would you run during Speed Week?
Early on, no, we didn't run. Our class was shut down at that time.
Okay.
And to me, like I said, running as many races as we were, that was my only 2 weeks off.
Yeah, for sure. And now, what did you do for a living while you were racing?
I worked for Action. I worked for the speed shop.
Oh, did you?
Most of the time,
okay.
Yeah.
You remember Kevin that worked there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He moved to Alaska.
Yep.
Yeah. Couldn't go to work one day because there was a moose between him and the car. Yeah. And I said, don't mess with the moose.
Yeah, Kevin helped me out for a while. Well, my first race car was that Buick. And Kevin, that was his street car, and Kevin crashed it.
No kidding.
And then I bought the car from Kevin, and we turned it into a race car.
Oh, son of a gun.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, stories get real, the circle gets really small.
Yeah.
You don't realize how small that circle gets. And yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we got some folks we've got to say thank you, too, for this show. We got Sister Gypsy over here, Danny on the board. Hey, Danny. She picked that up really good. She's doing a heck of a job there. We got Mike with the applause sign out. And Tony and Doris, thank you for all you do for us. Yeah. And Mr. Go-Kart Norman is here. Yeah. And now he's a mentor to a young lady who it sounds like she's doing really good.
Let me mention, she won again this past Friday night. And I told him earlier today, he's the crew chief of the year.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
Norm.
Yeah. And Owen Hopes, we thank you for being here. And Skip, we thank you for lining us up with Gary. That's really neat. The old hitman comes through for us. And Jimmy Susi over there, too. Northern Modified guy. Awesome. And Kathy, the Mopar Kathy, we thank you for coming, and we're going to learn more about your deal. We'll have you up here in a couple of weeks, and we'll be talking all about the deal here. So anything you want to close with?
Let's keep racing, have fun doing it. And
yep. Do you still go to the races?
I like to say I used to love racing. Now I just like it.
Oh, you do?
So to go out to the racetrack, very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing for me to do. There's nothing that I want to do.
Really?
You know, I'm done. You know, it's not the same. Racing's nowhere near what it was when I grew up, nowhere near what it was when I was racing.
Right.
And it's not the same. It's unfortunate that the short tracks have taken a beating the way they have.
Yeah.
And I don't see how it's going to get better for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tough.
They're trying, but it's not nowhere near.
No, you figure Volusia gets rained down, it seems, every week, you know, and then they went back to dirt. And I guess Speed World is shut down totally.
Speed World shut down totally.
And New Smyrna just keeps hanging on.
I had figured out I had either won or been with somebody that won at every Florida track in the modern, that's been open. The only ones we haven't won at was Pensacola.
Really?
I mean, everywhere, Bradenton, Punta Gorda. I've been either with somebody or I've won some.
Wow.
in all of them. I got to thinking about it. It was pretty wild how many places I've been in just in the state of Florida.
That's incredible.
Had success with different forms.
Boy, oh boy! And,
let me add one ray of hope here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot of tracks are closing down, a lot of series are closing down, but there's new ones opening up, and there's some terrific racing. And right here in Atlanta, local boy, the MX-5 Mazda series is absolutely fabulous. If you haven't seen that, they race on the turn coming out of turn 4. There's 8 cars battling for the lead.
No kidding.
Every race I see, and they don't wreck. So it's some good stuff. TA2, you're in it. That's great. All that stuff is
the
good.
MX-5, I used to build roll cages for Todd Fliss.
Oh, no
Troy
kidding.
Fliss.
That's it, yeah.
Before they were
I'll be darned.
before they were Spirited
Yeah,
Daytona.
they've been here too.
Yeah.
Hey, how about Gary Salvatore? Wasn't this great? We'll have him back one of these days. Thank you so much. And everybody out there, we'll be back next week with more big names and good stories. See you next week.
Thank you.
The Legends of Racing radio show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. Join us next time for the Legends of